Welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. And if I don't do a good job, the tools that I need are right in front of me. Oh wait, if my guests don't do a good job, the tools we need are right in front of me. So with me is Justin. That's that one over there. And this is Juliana. And your company is called what?
It's called Skeggox Leaf.
Now you know why I didn't say it? So my first question is, obviously, axes have something to do with what you do.
Yes,
What
sir.
do you do?
Skeggox Leaf, we are currently set up as a mobile axe throwing company, and we have big endeavors and a lot of passion to move into franchising of brick and mortar axe throwing facilities.
The name, because that was my first thought, and everybody else. Where'd that name come from?
That name came from specifically the old Nordic translation for axe throwing or axe throwing life. Axe throwing and that old way of living is something that I have a lot of admiration for. We both actually have a lot of admiration for that old way of living. Things are just way too fast, way too much into the phones today, and we wanted to build a company around community and around appreciating the world that we live in and appreciating the bodies that we were created to have.
So, how long have you been around the industry?
Been around the industry for about 6 years now.
Okay, so why did you get into this?
There was several reasons for it. The big reason is because I've always been a huge adventurer myself, and my lovely wife Julie, I never thought I'd find another woman that was so interested in great world adventures, and now I have one, and we get to do this together and bring our passion for adventurous type activities to the world. I climbed cell phone towers for a very long time, never got any time off to do it. When I finally got the time off, I went throwing for 4.5 hours.
Did it?
And
Wow.
they say to only do it for 1 hour because it really hurts your muscles the first time throwing such heavy axes. But I loved it so much, and being that I got to create such a passion in myself for it, knowing what it was doing for me and helping me to bring out the helping me to act out the
Killer in you?
Yeah.
Just say.
the inner warrior, the inner adventurer. I wanted to bring axe throwing to the community so that they can in turn bring those things out in themselves, bring themselves away from the day-to-day work and kids and the worries. And
How long you married?
been married for 1.5 years now.
Okay, so when you met him and he told you what he did you like say, this could be a red flag? He's walking around with axes. Just saying.
No, I mean, it didn't surprise me.
Were you throwing, did you do any axe throwing prior to meeting him?
No, but I heard of it. I had friends who had done it. I just never had a chance to do it, and so he actually taught me how, and it was just a wonderful experience doing that together. He was the first person I threw axes with, so.
Plus,
Yeah.
she likes the muscles when I'm throwing too.
Okay. Really? I barely could stand, and you're sitting here with all those muscles, with all those tattoos. I got 2 stinking little tattoos. Took me, I got my first tattoo I was in my 50s already. And I was like, I did it to entertain my audience. So I thought it'd be painful. So I said, I'm going to do this. And I get to the tattoo parlor, and there's a guy in the chair getting his ribs done. And he's in tears. And I go to my wife, what am I doing? I wanted it to be painful because my audience would like to see me in pain. So when he was done, and I got my tattoo, which is on my shoulder here, there was no pain at all. 0.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I wanted to get one more, and I'm thinking maybe getting one more. You're running out of space. So.
Yes.
Okay, so the situation is, now he's throwing axes and stuff like that, and had you started the mobile thing when you met her?
We actually decided to start that together. We
Okay.
picked up inspiration from a local large event that we visited, the Indian River Oktoberfest event last year. And when we saw it, we decided one more reason for opening was going to be to improve the overall customer experience that people have with axe throwing, usually across the country. There's a big novelty. There's a big novelty experience that goes with it that says, we went once, we're probably not going to go again, because it's weird, it's intimidating. We want to make this something that is like the old community sport that it used to be, where people got together and just found fun in the competition and in the pure adrenaline of it all the time.
Well, I mean, I relate it to going to the gun range. Okay, you have a target.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're going to shoot or throw axe at that target. You're going to hope that you get a good score or you get the right shot. And in both industries, safety is a major concern.
Yes.
So I know, because I shoot a lot, what it entails. How similar is axe throwing to going to a gun range in safety?
Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest rules that we see with gun ranges is we don't want anyone downrange. Obviously, while the range is hot, we
Now,
don't
speak
want
for
anyone.
yourself. I can tell you there's
Unless
people,
you really
there's
don't
people
like it.
I don't know, but okay, go ahead.
As long as you don't mind jail time, right?
Yeah. Okay, so you don't want anybody downrange.
Yes, same thing for axe throwing. We don't want anyone down by the targets while someone else is getting ready to throw an axe. We actually have lines and markers specifically set out, and it's an industry requirement to have a certain area where people are not allowed to cross so long as axes are being thrown. Ceasefires must be called. Our axes are sharp, so if an axe does hit someone, it is going to cause some sort of physical damage, and we definitely
Pain.
want to.
Show some pain.
Yes.
Definitely pain.
Yes.
Pain is a big one. So these are obviously, when I was setting these axes up here, you said to be really careful because they're really sharp, and
Yes.
you probably can shave with them.
Yes.
That's really sharp. In safety, when you were talking, and you don't want anybody downrange, I would think, and I could be wrong, that you don't want anybody behind you either. Directly behind you would be a concern for me, because someone's going to. In the little axes, maybe not so much, but in the big axe, if you go and pulling it back,
Mm-hmm.
and it falls out of your hand, the person behind you is going to get hurt. So I don't know. Is there like because you mentioned like a standard of what you can have? Is there?
Yes.
Is it a law?
So it is it's not a law as far as actual written a criminally enforceable
Right.
or a business law, but when it comes to our insurance, there are certain standards that we must apply to, or else we cannot be covered. No one will cover us unless we actually prove that we are adhering to these standards. We have to send pictures, videos. We have to constantly maintain the visual of it. So all of our standing areas, all of our throwing areas, and our do not cross lines, they have to be very easily visible. They have to be very apparent.
So do you set this up in someone's like backyard? Is that like how it kind of works?
We can.
Yeah, we absolutely could. Our trailer is 16 feet long. It's about 11 feet high and 8 feet wide. So we can bring our mobile arena to fit in just about any space, so long as we have the clearances to be able to get into it.
So you don't throw axes within the trailer?
Yes,
Oh,
actually.
you do also?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's the beauty of our design, and that's a huge part of the safety aspect of it too. I've noticed that a lot of trailer designs either have people throwing from the outside, which leaves sharp objects exposed to people who might be gathering around.
Right.
And it also, a lot of the trailers are open to the back and could potentially cause an axe bounce back where an axe might fly out of the trailer. Now, I know that that's a concern for a lot of people who are new to the world of axe throwing in general, being that there are videos out there showing where axes are bouncing back. I have taken every measure that I can possibly take in the engineering of our targets, in the engineering of our mobile arena, And even in the axes that we've picked out, I've thrown them in every single improper way that I can possibly think of to do it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary for me.
Even several at a time.
Uh,
Is it up? You're up to 11 now?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So, okay, so you set up, and I'm going to throw an axe. What am I throwing it into?
You're throwing it into a wooden backstop, and there's typically two kinds of targets. You're going to be setting up either vertical flat boards, and the ones that we use are standard pine. They're very soft. They accept blades very well. Or you're going to throw into end grain targets, and they accept blades a lot better than even vertical boards.
Okay. End grain?
End grain is just taking the wood that you would normally throw to and turning it onto its flat part, so you're throwing it into the actual end of the wood, as
Okay.
opposed to the flat part of the wood.
Oh, okay. So that you're going to stack them, I guess, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then it gives a better chance of it going in between and staying. Because that's my thought is, I've thrown a lot of stuff in my life, and it almost always didn't stick and backfired. So, when I was younger, I threw a dart, and it went into the gas meter. So my aim was not that great back then as a kid. But you're right. I mean, I guess for you, it's important that people see that you throw and it sticks. Otherwise, people are not going to want to do it.
Yes, and that's specifically why we've picked out these two smaller axes for the ones that are going to be our main throwers. These ones are designed for throwing. They're a lot thinner as opposed to the blades that you would see at a lot of other axe throwing facilities where it's like a hatchet you might find at Home Depot.
Right.
Those blades have a harder time sticking, and there's only one. This one has two. Each of these blades has points at the tip, so those tips can actually stick into the wood very easily. I've done a lot of throwing with these, and they have about an 80% higher chance of sticking, even if you completely mess up your throw.
It's interesting. What you mentioned that was interesting is that you climb cell phone towers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I did communications, so I was on top of every tall building in Manhattan,
Wow.
Wow.
including on top of the Verrazano Bridge where I mounted antennas. I was on the top of the
That's
trade
cool.
centers, and I worked with a guy. I was a kid. I worked with a guy who would hang his leg around the railing and be on the side of the building with a hammer jack. And I'm going, that's crazy. You have two kids. I had no kids, and I wouldn't do it. So, no more doing that?
No more doing that.
Is your main focus this?
Yes, this is the main focus now.
Okay, so I'm going to guess that I'm not going to guess. All right, I lied. He told me. You're not throwing this big axe yet.
I throw this
Yes,
big axe.
but I mean, people are not into throwing that big axe.
Yes, that this is a heavy graduation. As long as any participant shows a considerable amount of skill with the other axes, and they're graduating up through the different kinds of throwing, I will actually let them throw this, and our insurance does cover that too.
Okay, so it sounds like this stage is in axe throwing.
Yes.
Okay, what are the different stages? I mean, there's the wane stage, which is the beginning, which hopefully some will stick, something will stick. And then what? Where do we go from there? I mean, what's the difference in throwing?
I'm not quite
Is there, okay, I pick up this axe, I'm thinking I'm going to take it and throw it.
okay.
Is that what I'm doing, or is there a skill to throwing an axe?
Oh,
That's a good
okay.
question.
So yes, actually, it's a little bit of both. The way that we like to coach, which is vastly different from a lot of other places that you'll go to, we don't like sticking to one super rigid technique. We like sticking to very rigid safety, but the safety is built around how you naturally move and how you naturally throw. As a coach, I should have the ability to look at how you move and determine what throwing technique is going to be best specifically for you. And then when someone else comes in that might throw completely differently, I do the same thing with them. And that's one of the great things about how we've become really popular in our area, because we have a lot of individualized attention that allows people usually to be sticking bullseyes within their first 10 throws.
So, as a female, do you think it's more difficult? No, not at all?
No.
You can't shake your head. You have to talk here.
No, in fact, sorry. In fact, women are pretty amazing at doing this. I mean, it's
Well, women are pretty amazing, period.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother story. But
yeah, they pick it up really fast. it
have you
seems.
ever thrown this big axe?
I have not thrown that one.
Oh.
No, I have thrown maybe one about half that size.
Okay. So how many different style axes do you have?
I think we.
Not personally, because I'm sure you have like a weapons room, but
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's a whole different story.
Currently, we're working on five different axes and axe styles for throwing, including tool styles also.
Interesting. All right, we're at the top of our time. How do people find you? Do you have? I know we can find you on Facebook.
Yes.
Okay, under what? Because I can't pronounce that name. So.
Yeah.
I'll leave it.
So searching us, Skeggox Leaf, SKEGGOXLIF, will find it. There's no other thing that you need to put in. We are the only Skeggox Leaf in the entire world right now, so there's no mistaking.
Obviously, because I've interviewed a gazillion people, and I've never heard that word ever. So it should stick in people's minds. Maybe spelling it might be difficult, but you have a phone number?
Yes, our phone number is 772-255-8288. Very easy to remember, very rhythmic. Sounds good to say.
Look, everybody, I'm telling you right now, this is my disclaimer. Don't go out and buy a piece of wood at Home Depot and an axe and start throwing it, okay? It's really considerably dangerous, okay? And I can tell you, I set these axes up here, and I probably can shave with these blades, right?
With this one you can. These two are our participant throwers, so we actually keep them less sharp. We don't need things to be super razor sharp. Just need them to be sharp enough and thin enough to stick into the wood.
Who sharpens them?
I do.
Do you?
Yes, I pay very, very close attention to how sharp they are and how sharp they're not.
Okay, and that makes sense to me. Everybody, check them out. Before I let you go, so you set up, how does people like throw for an hour, 15 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes? What's the story?
It really depends on the kind of event that we're doing. We will go to open public events. There's a downtown Vero Friday event that we go to typically every month, and
I know that event.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, I have we have somebody who's not only a friend, but he does this. We do all his videos. ACT Computers, ACT Computers.
Yes.
Yes, he actually
Yep.
came.
So you know Jurgen. who
We're looking
owns-
forward to hopefully working with them in the future when we open up our first brick and mortar.
Well, if you're working with him, he's here every Friday. He does his show from here, and he came down, and I invited him to a chamber breakfast. He joined the chamber, so he's in Vera, and he wants to Stuart Martin chamber,
Nice.
as well as the Vera chamber. But I go up there. We've become close. You know, I think in business and in real world, it's good to build relationships.
Yes, very much
Okay.
so.
Even though relationships are impossible, that's marriage. But other relationships are go pretty much easier. All right, check them out. What's the phone number again?
772-255-8288.
I was just testing you. We'll be right back.